Hello and welcome to the Imperfect Buddha Podcast, the podcast that's willing to go where other Buddhist podcasts fear to tread. Coming to you from Trieste, Italy and Bath, England, each episode we discuss topical issues concerning Western Buddhism, with a bit of banter and occasional guests. You can join in the fun at our dedicated Facebook page and Twitter feed. Download episodes from SoundCloud and Mixcloud. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Imperfect Buddha Podcast. My name is Matthew.
And my name's Stuart.
And we're two old friends who've been involved in Buddhism for about 20 years now. And I guess we're at the end of Generation X, possibly tweaking into Generation Y. I guess that means we're a bit fragmented, Stuart. What do you think?
Sometimes, but who isn't fragmented, Matthew?
That's true. And we're both Brits, and we've been around the block quite a bit. But I think that probably we both have most experience in Tibetan Buddhism. Is that right?
That's right. That's absolutely right.
What else have you dabbled in?
Dabbled in a number of things, but Buddhism, it's been Tibetan Buddhism primarily. It's also been Tibetan focused or Tibetan influenced, but also very open style practice as well as looking at some Zen style practice too.
So you've done a bit of Zen.
Yes, a little bit Zen.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, one of the first teachers we both worked with, she taught pretty much Theravada and insight meditation practice, right?
Vipassana style, yeah, she did.
So we have that background too.
Yes, we do.
We're not techie obsessed though, are we? So what's this podcast going to be about, Stuart?
What's this podcast going to be about? Well, it's going to be about the Imperfect Buddha, isn't it? So it's going to be a post-traditional approach and evaluating and looking at, where Buddhism is going and what it's doing.
Specifically, you're here in the West, right, rather than the East.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you're right. We don't represent any sort of tradition, even though our background's what it is. And we don't represent any teachers. And are we aware? I don't know if you've maybe started something up without telling me. Are we trying to sell anything through this podcast?
I was hoping to sell lots of things subliminally under the radar without anybody noticing, and then just buying all of the products that we were going to push. But no, we're not. We're not pushing anything or promoting anything or, going down that route of having an agenda of money to make or products to push or, things to sell.
Maybe that can come later when you've developed your hypnotherapy.
Exactly.
You could start, as you said, to drop some subtle hints. I don't know what we'd sell though. Maybe contraceptives or alcohol, something very un-Buddhist.
The pill.
Okay, good. So we're going to be talking about mainly Western Buddhism. Mm-hmm. And as Stuart mentioned, we're going to be talking in a post-traditional sense. So we're looking at, I think we both share the same idea that we'd like to see something a bit more radical taking place in the West with Buddhism. Mm-hmm. And I think we both appreciated some of the podcasts that have been around so far. Buddhist Geek's probably been the one that's most famous, although that's become perhaps a little bit too techie for us. It's been too sciencey, maybe.
It's been going nearly 10 years now, so I think they started in 2006. So they're reaching next year. They'll be reaching they're pretty well established and they've got their niche, nicely developed there. So.
Yeah. Yep. And we don't represent the secular Buddhists either, even though you and I probably have a lot of respect for secular values, right?
Yes, that's right.
They're mainly into their science and mindfulness and so forth. So we'll be talking hopefully about some of the topics that are less covered by the other podcasts, and hopefully raising some of the questions which tend to be ignored. And hopefully looking at some of the fringe folk, right? Some of the people that are innovating, but perhaps have not had much of a space yet to be heard, because we'd like to get some folks on and interview them too.
Yes, we would. Yes, it would be a pleasure to interview and talk with people in that style and direction.
And I think that brings us to the next question, which is, why another Buddhist podcast? And I think we kind of said something about that already, but we'd like to see a reassessment of Buddhism in the West. We'd like to see some more creative interpretations of practice, not just mindfulness, but also exploring, the big issues like, enlightenment, whatever that might be. We're going to talk about that at some point. Have a look at some Buddhist cults as well. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that episode.
That'd be good.
And looking at the impact of long-term practice on individuals, relationships, the working life, this sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Do any of those stand out for you, Stuart?
The cults, like you say, will be interesting.
We're going to get into that. We both had a bit of experience. So,
Been burnt a few times as well.
yeah. I have a few stories to tell for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
So, I mean, finally, to finish up this intro, we're not experts, but we're pretty well informed, aren't we? And we've got a lot of experience. So,
Yeah, damn right.
I think we have something worthwhile to share. We'll see who's willing to actually listen and join in. Okay, so this is the Imperfect Buddha Podcast. Stay tuned. The next episode will be coming up soon. We've got a dedicated Facebook page. It's called the Imperfect Buddha Podcast. We're on Twitter, and we're also going to be on Mixcloud and SoundCloud too. So check us out.
We will. Do check us out. Tune in. Enjoy. Have fun. Thank you.
Until next time.